Yes, aging is natural in the same way as you know, as influenza is natural, and drought is natural, and earthquakes are natural. Yes, it's natural. It doesn't mean it doesn't cause disease. It causes disease, and it brings most of the deaths. Doesn't mean we don't have to fight it. We don't have to devise means and technologies against it. Actually, nothing is forgotten. It's still on paper. If you read my book, you'll see a lot of I would say not dead, but frozen inventions that are still there. We remember them. We can read about them. Even in my book, they are still there. They just don't implement them. There is this thing called Death Valley for longevity technologies, and most of the inventions simply don't pass the Death Valley. Things we now hype as most promising, like microbiome interventions. It was all there 120 years ago. Eli Mechnikov, the founder of gerontology, spoke about it. It was there all along. We didn't forget it. We just don't use it. We don't apply it. And same for stem cells, same for many other interventions, hormonal interventions. We remember them. We don't use them. And I'll tell you more. We remember that we have to lead a healthy lifestyle, right? We remember, we know that we don't lead it often. We often forget about it, like sleep and exercise and enough health, nutrition, all that. Well, now that we don't use it. So once again, the question is not what we've forgotten. The question is what we have to do to implement what we already know. We have to talk more about longevity advocacy. Imagine you invent a longevity pill tomorrow. Tomorrow you take a pill. It's not going to work like this. There'll be no pill. It will be comprehensive intervention from many components. But imagine that you have a treatment for aging. If the society is not ready to accept it, it will be forgotten like all the other interventions, and nobody will be able to develop it or sell it. Nobody will get funding for it. It will be just another dead thing in the death valley of longevity technologies. What we need is advocacy, more public support, governmental support, funding for research, education. So that's what we need most for the future. We will, I think, we will recognize aging as a treatable condition, even without formal recognition. You know what? News for the viewers. It's already recognized as a treatable condition in the ICD. In the ICD, International Classification of Disease, there are already two classifications for aging. One is so-called diagnostics category, the so-called aging-associated decline in intrinsic capacity, and the second is etiology or causality category, the so-called aging-related disease. It's already in the International Classification of Disease. You can already address it by any institution. Any person, any institution that does research, does development, can look at the ICD categories and say, here's the category. Why don't we do this? Again, same death valley of things that remain on paper. So once again, we have to use what we already have, what we already know, and go with it. Actually, back in 2012, I'm an old timer in longevity advocacy. I've been doing it for about 25 years, the last century. And in 2012, we introduced a law proposal to Knesset, to the Israeli parliament, to establish a national advisory committee to address aging as a treatable condition. And there we included an annex, an appendix to an existing Israeli law. Don't stand on the blood of your neighbor, it's called in Hebrew. Basically, it's a Good Samaritan law. So wanted to include not addressing aging as a medical condition, not extending health longevity in the same category as just you walk by a person who's about to get killed and walking by not helping him. So basically, it's the same moral category. And I hope people recognize that that's the same saving lives that we are doing by life extension research, health longevity research, saving about, I don't remember how, 100,000 people a day that are dying from aging, same as they are dying from any other causes from wars. It's the same moral imperative to address. That's an excellent question. So we don't have an exact indication what is it that we want to fight. We don't have an agreed measurable definition of aging, actually. We are now writing a book called Health, Longevity, Policies and Practices, and several chapters will be dedicated exactly to this question. What does it mean to intervene into aging? How do we measure the success? How do we measure the failure? We have to cross that line first. We have to understand what is it exactly that we're treating, and then we can measure the success of treatment. Then we can also understand if we can go back or not go back. But right now, we even don't have the most basic definition, clinical definition of aging that we know that we are addressing. And I can tell you more. How do we ascertain with the ensure life extension? We cannot wait 100 years and see, we achieved life extension, not achieved life extension. When people talk about achieving immortality or radical longevity in 2030, what will it mean? What will it mean? How can you be sure in 2030 that you will extend your life for another 100 years? So we still have to have all those the clinical criteria. Then we can evaluate what we can do and what can reverse and how we can advance. They blame us whatever we do, but we still try to do our best because let's say we defeat aging by 2050. And they'll say, why didn't you do it by 2030? Or why didn't you achieve it for everybody at once? Because it will obviously be available for some people first, and then it will spread. Why did you achieve it once for everybody? Whatever we do, they will blame us. But it also means that we can never do enough. So as activists, as researchers, we can never advance fast enough. We can never do and enough to actually advance the topic. It's in our interest. The faster we advance, the faster we ourselves will benefit. We have a strong ecosystem for the advancement of biotech, education in the biotech area. It's called the Startup Nation. And for a reason, we were quite agile. Maybe our infrastructure is not as massive as the United States or China, but we're agile. We're inventive. I hope we can apply all that to fight degenerative aging, to extend health and longevity, and that's what we do. Also in terms of policy, I think we were some of the pioneers in developing actual policies addressed aging. In 2019, even our association, VETIC Association, the Movement for Longevity, Quality of Life, developed a set of policies for the advancement of longevity research, including funding, including metrics, including education. So we're trying our best, but once again, it's never enough. We cannot tap ourselves too much on the shoulder and say we're great. We're not great. We don't have a reliable treatment for aging diseases. So we still have a long way to go. As I said, we all know what we have to do, and all those recipes, all our grandmothers and the grandfathers, they told us, go for a walk and sleep and eat. And that's actually what a lot of Israelis do. We have a great healthcare system, both in terms of prevention and emergency medicine. If you go into emergency care, even in the deathbed, they will revive you. So that's both components are important for extending life expectancy in Israel. And actually now Israel is in the fourth place in the global life expectancy. Medicine is important, research is important, but also all the things that we all do, even exercise. We don't get crazy. We don't drink a lot. We drink a little bit of wine, but not a lot of alcoholics. Nothing in excess, as they say. So the Mediterranean climate is good. And generally, what we eat is the general Mediterranean diet. It was shown it's probably one of the best diets in the world. And actually, if you look at other Mediterranean nations like Spain and Portugal and Italy, they all have good life expectancies. And then Serbia is not far away from that. Also in the neighborhood. Basically, we just, the best advice from Jed, don't get crazy, do all the normal things that we know we have to do, and at the same time, advanced research help more radical technologies to develop. That all the things our grandmothers told us, you sleep well, eat well, the exercise a little bit, have motivation, have a purpose in life. That's probably even more important than all the other components. To have something to even want to extend your life for. That's all I can recommend from a practical standpoint. And the fifth element is just, help develop research. We don't know everything. We still need to advance biomedicine and hopefully create more successful treatments.